I was in there with Joanne Dennehy.
I don't know. Who's that?
She's like one of Britain's most infamous like serial killers. Crazy. And she was the gym orderly. She's the person that takes you to the gym and shows you the gym.
What?
Yeah.
So when you saw her, you must have been terrified. Or...
So when I saw her, I didn't realise straight away who she was.
Okay.
But she does look scary anyway. If you Google her, some of you who might have seen her, she's like licking a knife. That's like her most famous picture. She's wearing like a beanie hat. She's got like her hair up to here and she's like with a knife. Yeah. She killed a few men. And so when I saw her, I didn't recognise her straight away because she didn't have that same haircut. Yeah. She had like short blonde hair, but she had like
Alright, listen, before you get into the video, we have a goal of hitting 1,000 subscribers.
You look, I can't lie, it's a no-brainer.
There's so many people who watch
and you're not
don't subscribe.
You see the red button, right underneath the video, innit? And then there's a bell right next to it.
Click those two buttons before we go into the video.
And when we hit 1,000, we'll pay it back to you, man. Don't worry.
Because you have to understand, the more you subscribe, the more shit we can do.
Simple as.
So it's a Tuesday, and it means one thing, only. We're tuning back into the Two-Man-Step podcast. Myself, DK.
Myself, Damz.
Is this where I introduce myself?
Yeah, basically,
Should I bring this closer? Okay. Yeah. Hi, my name is Makayla.
Nice to meet you. Tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I guess why I'm on here is because of a TikTok that I made about my year in prison. Mm-hmm. And you guys saw that. It kind of shocked me that anyone saw it because I had like 100 followers when I made it.
What happened is he sent it to me.
Yeah, and I was like, this is interesting.
Yeah.
Because I thought you were well spoken, so...
Why, thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, so I guess, it's kind of taken more... It's got more views than I imagined it would. Because I think in total, I've made maybe 4 or 5 videos and it's maybe got like 500,000 views in total, which is... very strange to me.
Well, just literally you explaining what happened when you were in jail or whatever.
Yeah, but obviously there's so much that I've left out. It's just that, I don't know, it's hard to kind of, put it into 30-second clips.
Yeah.
And I don't know what is interesting to, because I've lived it, so to me it's just, like it was just like something that happened. Whereas to you, you might ask me a question that would trigger me to say something that you'd find interesting, but I don't know off the top of my head
what people actually find interesting or whatever.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's our jobs, isn't it?
Well,
there you go.
That's what it is.
So, cut long story short. So, tell for the people that don't know why you went prison and
fraud. I'm a fraudster. Not a fraudster anymore, but basically. It's such a long story of what the actual fraud was, but to whittle it down into one sentence, it was basically my boyfriend at the time, he had a friend that worked for the NHS. He took people's details and made claims in those names for a type of support allowance for, I didn't even know what kind it was. And I was just basically one of the people that made the phone calls to make those claims. So if they needed a female voice, I would be the female voice. And that was it. Yeah. Brought some of my friends in. And they never got caught, luckily. They were okay. But that was the gist of it.
So that's actually what it was.
So every call, though, every call would make money. So every call equals a successful claim. If it's like a long phone call, which would be about 40 minutes long, means it's successful, means they'll get maybe $4,000 from the one call. And then I got paid a percentage
of that
from
$4,000.
that. Yeah.
So how much would you say you made in total then?
Not that much.
So it wasn't even worth it?
It was not worth it. No. Because the thing is, I was scared. I was constantly scared that we'd go to jail. So I would like do a little bit. I would be like, oh, okay, I need to pay these bills. So let me just do a little bit now. And then I'd be scared and then I'd stop. And then I'd be like to my boyfriend, please don't do it. Please, I'm scared. I don't want you to go to jail. And he'd be like, it's fine. Relax. Okay. If I go to jail, it'll be fine. It'll just be like being in the gym. It's going to be great. I'm going to come out hench. I'll be sexy. It'll be fine. And I was just like, no, please stop. And then like I would fall into debt because I was 19 at the time. I had a baby. Okay. I was living in like a really nice, expensive house. I couldn't manage. I didn't know anything about council tax. I didn't know about water bills. Like I didn't know these things before I moved. So I just needed the money. And then eventually it kind of became like, oh, I need to do my hair. Let me make some phone calls. Then it'll be like, oh, no, I'm scared. Let's stop. Then I'm like, okay, but I also need like something to wear on my birthday, so let me do it again.
So you were just going in a cycle, really, innit?
It's like you were never actually going to break out that cycle.
Yeah, never. Well, okay, eventually we did. So it's not that we got caught and we stopped. It's that I got to a point where I realised this is a cycle and it's actually not going to stop, because I may be doing it to get out of debt, survive for a bit. Then I'm like, let me do my hair, then back into debt. And it just was a cycle. And then I was at someone's birthday and we were in like a Hummer limo, and it was me and my boyfriend's best friend. We were in the limo and we were drunk, and he just said to me, there's people watching us. They're watching us. I know they're watching us. I've seen them watching us, and we're going to get arrested. We're going to go to jail. You'll be fine, but we're going. And so this is in the middle of someone's birthday. He's talking to me. I'm like crying my eyes out. I'm like, no, I don't want you guys to go to jail. Please don't say that. And he'll be like, no, you're fine. You'll be okay. You're such a good mom. You'll be fine. You stay out here. Look after Talia. That's my daughter. Look after Talia. Everything will be fine. And literally, I think it was maybe 3 or 4 days later, him, my ex, his brother, all their people, everyone got arrested. Yeah. I wasn't arrested though. Okay. Until a month later.
Okay. So in that like month's time, did you think you could go to jail? Or you weren't
no, I thought to myself, thank God, Lord Jesus, you've spared me. Thank you. I would never do this again. Like I really thought like I was good. And then I think it was about exactly a month later, the day before I got arrested, I went to Tesco. And I had money in my account, so obviously I did some shopping, got to the till, my card got declined, and I thought, oh, that's funny, don't know why that happened. Called lawyers, they said, yeah, we've stopped your account, something to do with HMRC, and I thought, okay, cool, and okay. I went to the bank. When I got there, the lady that I saw at the bank, she said, okay, so if I were you, leave this bank, don't come back, go and open a new account, you're never going to get this one back, okay? And just watch yourself. And I thought, like a weird thing to say.
She said, watch yourself.
Yeah, she said, watch. And I thought, it's like quite a strange thing to say. And so I left. I went to Barclays, opened a new account, went home, fell asleep, 6 a.m, doof, 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 and they kicked off my door.
So when they kicked off your door,
they didn't kick it off. They barged in. My mum actually was like awake for some reason at like 5, 6 in the morning. She opened the door, they pushed past, they came to my room, I sleep naked, I'm just like, oh my gosh, and then they're like, get dressed. I was like, oh, okay. And they took all my stuff.
So obviously when they came, you knew what it was about.
I knew what it was,
you knew it was time.
I knew.
Damn. So what was the process after that like? So they took you to the station, obviously.
Took me to the station, they questioned me. Obviously I said no comment throughout. I'm not gonna lie, I did want to answer some things because some of the transactions that they had on there were like my student loan that I had sent to someone's account. They sent it to me. So they're just like lumping all of these other bits of money. And I really wanted to like jump in and be like, that's not part of that. That's my student loan. And they were just, my solicitor that was there, he was just like, shut up, stop talking. Yeah. He actually was like pinching me under the table. And then after that, I was on bail for 3 years.
3 years? So wait, so after that happened, you went to jail? Or you were on bail for 3 years?
I was on bail for 3 years.
And then?
I had a job. I had many jobs in that time. I worked. I went on holiday. Like, I did stuff. I was just, like, living life. It's just that at some point, I would say, like, the year after, we went to court for the first time. And when we went to court, I was walking towards it. It was Southwark Crown Courts. Obviously, that's the big one, right? Yeah. Walking towards it, and I see one person with a camera. And I thought to myself, let me cover my face. And I thought, but they don't know me. This is like my first court appearance. Yeah. Why would he wouldn't, like, who the heck am I? But I just thought, just to be on the safe side. And I did that. And when I got home, the best friend, he called me. And he was like, type your name in on Google. And I was like, okay. And then I see my picture there. And luckily, I'm like this. So if you didn't know me personally, you wouldn't see that and then meet me and then say, like, oh, I saw you. But people did see. My mum's friends saw. And obviously, my mum's African. So you can imagine how that went down.
So what? After that, you went... So what? You said you were on bail for 3 years?
I was on bail for 3 years.
So what? Was it after that 3 years...
after the 3, we went to court a few times. Closer to the time I went to prison, I spoke to my solicitor, and they said to me, look, the evidence that they've got is crazy. They've got like voice recordings. They've played the voice recordings. You can hear my daughter in the background walking around and making noise, and they're just like, yeah, it's a wrap. You're not going to get off this one. But they said to me, don't worry, we've got it in the bag. You're not going to jail, okay? You'll just get a suspended sentence because you have a child and, you know, this is your first crime and, like, you've got, like, a good character reference all around. You'll be fine. And so they just said, just plead guilty and call it a day. So I pled guilty. Went for a pre-sentence report where you meet with, like, probation and then they just kind of decide, like, are you bad? Are you going to reoffend? Are you a risk? Should we lock you up? And they said, oh, no, you're fine. We're going to recommend that you get a suspended sentence. But the judges never listened to us, so don't really know what's going to happen. And I thought,
so they've told you that after you plead guilty?
No, yeah. Oh, yeah, actually it was after, because it was a week before I went to prison.
Okay, yeah.
So really I would have been in prison in May, but I got sick. I was in hospital, so I missed that court date. Okay. The co-defendants, they got remanded, like, randomly sometime in May. And then June, I went to court. Again, the solicitor said to me, don't worry, we've got it in the bag. It's going to be fine. And then, the judge was just like, okay, let's do the sentencing. How old was your daughter when you commit this crime? And I said, she was 1.5. Okay, well, you didn't think about her when you were committing this crime, so don't expect me to think about her now. We'll start the ruling at 4 years. And I was just like...
4 years? What? So when you went in, you thought you would get a suspended sentence?
Yeah, that's what I was told the whole time.
Your solicitor gave you that angle?
I wouldn't even just say it was my solicitor. It was everybody around me. Yeah. Everybody who knew. Everyone was like, oh, you get suspended. Yeah. I actually know somebody who... her and her husband... Well, I don't know if she was in on it. I don't think she was. But her husband did like 5 million worth of fraud, apparently. And she got a suspended sentence.
For £5 million?
For £5 million. And it was just the two of them, I think. Now, she said she wasn't involved, but the judges and the court and everybody said she was involved. So basing it off like stuff like that, and they said that I didn't even make near that amount. Yeah. So everyone just assumed, suspended. And then, the judge was just like, let's start 4 years.
And then you ended up getting how much?
I got 2.5.
You got 2.5? Yeah.
He took off like a third because this was like my first offence and because I pled guilty. Yeah. And then I got 2.5.
So what was that, if you can say in it, what was the actual conviction? Like, what did you actually get?
Fraud by false representation.
Okay. Long. Yeah. So obviously then, now you're not even ready for prison, but you're now basically in prison, innit?
Yeah.
You don't go home, nothing, you go straight from there.
No, like prison, I didn't even hear my sentence. Because I was being a baby. I screamed. I didn't even look at my family. I just remember like hearing, we'll start at 4 years, and I was screaming and crying. And then they just took me downstairs. When I got downstairs, one of the other people had said, oh, what did she get? And then the officer said, oh, she got 2.5 years. And that's when I knew what I had. Okay.
So and then how was that whole process from now? You've been arrested. Obviously not, sorry. You've just finished your sentence. You're getting ready, and now you're going to jail. So like, how's your mind going right now? Like, what's happening?
Do you know? I don't remember. I don't remember anything. I just remember they took me to like a cell. The cell was probably double this size. It just has like a wooden bench that goes around. It has a wooden bench that goes around. I think it had a toilet and a Bible, and I fell asleep on the Bible. And then maybe like 3 hours later, I woke up and they said, oh, you're still in here. The van's about to leave you, as if I was supposed to know that van was coming to get me. And then they take you into the van. And it's funny because from the outside, you don't know what's going on in that van when you see it. We see those vans, like they're always... You can Google like a Serco van to see what it looks like. And it's just got the little sort of black windows. From the inside, you can see out. Obviously, from the outside, you cannot see in. Yeah. But it's like a little cubicle, probably about this big, just big enough for like a chair. Wow. And it has a slot that big where they just like slide food and water under it. And
So how long were you in that Serco van? Like, what was the first prison that you went to?
The first prison I went to was called Bronzefield. I can't tell you the time. Like, I lost all concept of time after that because, I don't know, it was probably like 2 hours or an hour and a half away from Southwark Crown Court. But I had a panic attack on the way because I looked out the window and I just remember seeing a car that looked like my mum's. I saw a car that looked like my sister's. I saw McDonald's, which my daughter used to really like. Every time I saw something that reminded me of like what I'm leaving, I just would burst into tears. And then the officers, they're not allowed to let you out. You're like chained, you're handcuffed. And she said to me, I'm not supposed to let you out, so please don't attack me, but I'll open it. So she opened it. She's not allowed to. She opened it and she held my hand and she gave me some water. And she was asking me like, oh, what's wrong? Why are you crying? And I'm just like, because I'm going to prison. Why do you think?
What type of question is that?
But having said, there was another lady in another cubicle. And she was yelling at me. She was like, you're right, darling. Don't worry, it's fine. When you get in there, tell me you smoke and they'll give you some fat. Like, she was really happy. She was like, yeah, gonna go see my... Like, the Serco people knew her by name.
So she...
Usual,
reoffending, fam. She's been reoffended.
Exactly. There are people in there who have been in and out of prison. They see each other all the time. So they're like... It's like going home for them. She was 100%. Over the moon to be going back.
Crazy. So she went to what, Bronzefield? How do prisons work? Are they like, there's not a wing for men and a wing for women? You went to an all women prison.
It's an all women's prison.
It was an all women's prison, innit?
So how was that experience then? Obviously in the first one.
Yeah.
The first prison.
Where is Bronzefield? Like, where is
it's in Ashford, I think.
Ashford.
Yeah, like Kent, somewhere in Kent.
Okay.
That prison was not that bad, not gonna lie.
Okay.
I mean, it's bad because
you're in prison.
You're in prison and you don't have any of your things and you're in a cell 22 hours a day.
Oh.
So from that point of view, yes, it's horrible. The food is unbearable. I didn't eat. I was like on a hunger strike and they thought I was like trying to like kill myself, but I was just not eating because the food looked nasty. That was it. Like the kebab, for example, we have kebab meat in there, but we call it flip-flop. So that should tell you the kind of meat.
What it looked like.
It's like it looks strange, it smells strange. So you're alone like a lot of the time. If you don't have you're alone. Or you're put in a cell with somebody else who you can't stand, who you don't like, and then there's problems.
So did you get
I was about to ask the same thing when they're fights in prison.
So I saw loads. I happened to be so the first night you are put in a cell by yourself. There's nobody allowed in there. You're just by yourself. Apparently it's because if you're gonna kill yourself, they want you to do it like not when someone else. Like you're vulnerable, you're sad, you're stressed because this is like your first day. So the first 2 or 3 days I was by myself. Then I got moved to a room with it was like during Ramadan and she was fasting and praying. I'm in prison. The only thing I want to do that will make me this much happy is watch EastEnders.
Yeah. Okay.
She would pray around the time EastEnders would come on. So she wants the TV off. From there it was beef. It was problems. So we got separated. She got moved somewhere else. I got moved in with an older black lady who was a nurse. And then it was fine.
Question: How did she get in prison? I don't know if you can tell.
It was something to do with lying about immigration status she was like a senior nurse. But I mean, in that prison, I say it wasn't that bad, but I think I had a good experience, as good as you can have in prison. Because there were other people that had terrible experiences. There was a lady who, she was an accountant, black lady, really posh, and there was another girl. I had only met this person once. This is my only probably like negative experience in that prison. She pushed me out of the way when I was standing in the door. She said, "Move, bitch," and I was like, "Oh, okay, sorry." But that same person, I heard that she like raped someone with straighteners or some weird story like that. And she's very like hench and manly. And she wanted this woman to like be her girlfriend. But this woman's like an accountant. She's married. She's got 2 kids. Like, that's not her vibe. And apparently, like, I don't know 100% if this is true, but I'm like 94% sure. Because they had to share a cell, apparently she got like, you get like a flask. And so there's like a hot water tank. Before you get locked up at 5, you get your hot water. In case you want tea, noodles, anything, you can make it yourself. And apparently she got water and sugar, and she threw the sugar and the water on her face.
Wow.
And obviously that
Like
caramelizes.
Yeah.
Is it like an acid type of?
It just like makes the sugar melt, and it like sticks to your skin, and it scars you. So there was things like that. I saw people fighting all the time. What was
the worst fight you say you saw then?
The thing is that you're locked up, so this is like me like looking through the little gaps in the window.
You're peeping through.
Yeah, and I'm seeing like, okay, so and so's fighting. Now they're fighting. We may be outside, and now we're gonna be locked up because all the guards are gonna run from this part of the prison to that part. You can like see into the other side, so it's like split into 4 like a cross.
Yeah.
If you're in here and people in that side have a fight, all the guards are just gonna lock you up and go over there. And sometimes you see people being dragged away, but I didn't see anyone get like seriously injured in my time. And of course you meet like scary people. I was in there with Joanne Dennehy.
I don't know, who's that?
She's like one of Britain's most infamous like serial killers. Crazy. And she was the gym orderly. She's the person that takes you to the gym and shows you the gym.
What?
Yeah.
So when you saw her, you must have been terrified.
So when I saw her, I didn't realise straight away who she was.
Okay.
But she does look scary anyway. If you Google her, some of you who might have seen her, she's like licking a knife. That's like her most famous picture. She's wearing like a beanie hat. She's got like her hair up to here, and she's like with a knife. Yeah. She killed a few men. And so when I saw her, I didn't recognise her straight away because she didn't have that same haircut. Yeah. She had like short blonde hair, but she had like self-harm marks all the way up her arm. And she's tall. She's a bit hench as well. So I did think like, you're scary.
Yeah.
I'm gonna like keep my distance. And she showed us the gym. She was nice. She was fine. But her problem is not women. Her problem is men.
Okay.
So yeah, you're in with people like that. I met a lady who'd killed her baby daddy in the street. She'd stabbed him to death. And I asked her, but why did you do that?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to know too much, but
if
just can you tell me?
Yeah.
Yeah. And she said that it was because he humiliated her. And she said she wasn't going to be humiliated anymore. But she said, I always knew. She said, I knew that I wouldn't make it past 40. And this year I turned 40. And this is the year I get locked up. And obviously she's not coming out.
Yeah, she's not coming out.
Well, she will, but
in a very long time. Yeah.
Well, she could die in there. I don't know.
It's true. So wait, so that was the first prison.
Yeah.
How many prisons did you go to
2.
in the time? So how was time at the second prison?
one was the worst place on earth.
Oh, okay.
It was horrible.
So how long did you spend at the first prison?
Not that long.
Oh, okay.
Like a really short time. But it was fine, like, because you're not even out enough to have people bother you. Like, you're in, you're just locked up. So, but yeah, the second prison.
Where was that, by the way? And what's the name of it?
The second prison was called East Sutton Park.
East Sutton Park.
That's in, I think it's in Ashford or Kent. I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
Somewhere.
So somewhere
in the world. Yeah, that prison was terrible, which is strange because it's an open prison, and it's basically like a big house. It's like a massive boarding school for old women. It's horrible because the people in there are... Okay, so when you're in prison, you're sad already.
Yeah.
You're missing your kids if you've got kids. You're missing your family. It makes you a different person. It makes you moodier, grumpier, more horrible. Yeah. You're more like, I have to protect myself, I have to defend myself. So you're going to be horrible to people. Yeah. And in that prison, just the worst characters are in there, in my opinion.
Yeah. So you don't think it was like more dangerous than the first one?
Oh, it was more dangerous as well. In my opinion.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it was more dangerous in some aspects because in the closed prison, everyone's locked up all the time. There was a lady that died, to be fair, whilst I was in prison, in that first prison. Not whilst I was actually in there, but during my prison time, she died in there, yeah. But I would say it's not more dangerous just because you're locked up so much. If there was more freedom, yes, it's more dangerous because, let's say, for example, if you meet someone who's just killed someone, they know they've got at least 10, 15, 20 years. So they don't need to do any good behaviour. They can, like, kill you too. It doesn't matter. Yeah. They've got a long time. Whereas when you're in closed prison, they know, like, open prison, they know, like, I'm almost out, so I can behave. But at the same time, I felt like I was exposed to a lot more like scary people in there.
So what would you say mentally that experience was like for you?
Just made me not very trusting of people.
Yeah.
And it made me really appreciate freedom and appreciate like my family and my friends. But it just made me I'm just very suspicious of people all the time. All the time.
Yeah.
I lost a lot of friends as well. I lost a ton of friends. Most of the people I was friends with when I went in.
You weren't friends
Not
with when you
friends
came
with
out. How come is that just...
Because they were just weird. They were just weird with me. Like, some people said they were going to do things for me, like send me. The best thing you can do, if you know someone that's in prison, the best thing you can do, send them some stamps. Don't, like, money is cool, but send stamps. Send money, I guess, occasionally. And send them some like CDs and books. But I had a lot of people saying they would do stuff. They didn't do things that they said they were going to do. I had a lot of people... like when I came out, just they didn't know how to talk to me, and every time I would be around them, it would be like, oh,
Yeah, that's like the only thing they probably want to mention.
yeah, they just want. And the thing is, I'm cool. Like, I'm cool. I'll talk about it. But after you've asked me all your questions, it's like, for example, I knew this girl. I was sort of like friends with her. She used to go to my church. When I went to church, that was where I felt the weirdest.
Yeah.
Because everybody was like, oh my gosh, you're back. And the sort of questions that people would ask me is like, I haven't seen you in a year and a half. And then the first question you're going to ask me is, so, was it like Orange is the New Black?
Crazy.
Just like,
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I guess similar. And then once they've got all their questions out, they don't have nothing to say. Yeah. And it's not, none of the questions are like, how were you? How was Talia? How's your mom? Like, no, it was just, I just want to know, did you see it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I lost a lot of friends. I gained some friends too. But, yeah, it just made me not trusting.
Would you say it affected your mental health as well? Being inside?
I guess it just made me more paranoid. And I am always, the not trusting is a big part of who I am now. Because, for example, one of the people that, I talked about this on my TikTok, but one of the people that she, like, killed a pregnant woman.
So you were in prison with her?
Yeah. I shared a room with her for a few nights and then she ended up moving to a different room.
Okay, cool.
But, like, she was, like, I won't say her name because she's out.
Yeah.
And, like, she's on TikTok giving, like, parenting advice. A thing that people don't know about prison, whilst you're in there, especially in open prison, you can get a job, like a real job.
As in a regular job?
Regular job.
Okay.
So at the time that I was there, she used to work in, I think it was Co-op. So, like, you can work in Co-op, you can work in Sainsbury's.
What's funny?
Co-op.
Not a single person
Co-op,
would know she's
you'd
done that.
never know. Because if you see her, you don't... And when she got arrested, she looks very different. She's quite a pretty girl as well. Like, but yeah, you can work in Co-op, you can work in Sainsbury's, you can work in Timpson's. Those are like the 3 hotspots, yeah, where you you can easily get a job there.
In jail?
Yeah, so you leave the prison in the morning.
So what is called actual Sainsbury's?
It's actual Sainsbury's.
It's not in jail. She's
It's
going
out,
to
outside.
Yeah.
While in jail?
Yeah, so it's called a day release. So the governors have to prove, and they say like, oh, you're a good prisoner. And then you get a travel warrant, which is basically a travel card. And then you go get on the transport outside of the prison. But it's very strict.
Oh,
Okay.
There are so many rules to it.
So what is it? Is it just work or you're actually out? You can actually just... Like...
There's different types of day release. It's called a ROTL. ROTL. So you can have a working one. You can have a childcare one. Let's say if you want to see your child, every 72 days you can come out and see your child. You can have a day release. You can have a sleepover at your house.
So your actual crib?
Yeah.
Don't you think that'd be harder though?
I did those. They were not... The thing that was actually strangely hard is like the night before, you're so excited. Like, oh my gosh, I'm going home. I'm going to be able to listen to the music I like. I'm going to be able to eat things I like. Like, it's that level of excitement. So you can't sleep. So then when you go out, you're just like the whole day. And then if you do sleep over at your house, it doesn't even feel comfortable. Like my bed It didn't feel good to sleep in my bed.
Yeah.
It was just, but you're paranoid the whole time because they do spot checks. So you have to write, in men's prisons, it's a lot less strict, but in women's prisons, you have to write a detailed itinerary of where you want to go. So you can't just say, I want to go out on a childcare rottle, and they'll say, okay, you have a child, sure, approved. No. You have to write 8 o'clock, I'm going to leave, or like, I'm going to wake up, okay? 8 o'clock till 8:15, I'm going to have breakfast. 8:15 to 8:25.
Like
you literally have to write. And if you miss out 5 minutes, they'll reject it.
What?
And then what they do is, because you've written down every single place you are going, you have to get a map printed out to show everywhere you're going. You have to, if you are going to go buy a car, it needs to be somebody who is willing to have their car checked in terms of like looking online to make sure that they've got tax, MOT, insurance, all of that. They have to send in their insurance to make sure that they're actually certified to drive, and that car has to pick you up. If a different car picks you up, you're not going anywhere. Once they pick you up, and obviously they have an itinerary, a detailed itinerary of everywhere you're going. So sometimes when I came out, me and my daughter, what we used to do is go to the nail shop, and we used to get our nails done. So now I've come out on a day release, I thought, it would be nice to do something we used to do.
Yeah.
So we went to go get our nails done, and one of the officers called me and said, look outside. And I looked outside and he was there. And he waved at me and said, okay, carry on. That weekend, I was out. They probably checked on me 2 or 3 times.
Well, so do you feel like you can't even enjoy yourself?
You can't enjoy yourself.
If you know they're watching you.
You can't.
Yeah.
The next day, I was going to church and I was late, and I called them. If you're late, you need to call them. So I called them and I told them, I'm running late. And the officer said to me, if you're not here in 5 minutes, we're taking you back to the prison when you do get here.
Wow.
Because you can't be late.
Yeah,
you cannot be late.
So you have to be on time for everything.
Yeah, so because I was late for that one, and one of the reasons I was late, I wanted to get my daughter a birthday present. So I went to Argos, and the queue was mad. And when I got back to the prison, they held a whole governor's meeting, and it was just like, okay, well, why were you late? Well, why didn't you go with your daughter? If it's a childcare role, you should have been spending time with her. Okay, but her hair needed to be taken out. Well, why didn't you take it out? Like, it's that level of questioning and grilling. And then because of that, that was one of the reasons I wasn't allowed out for her birthday.
They didn't let you out for her birthday?
They didn't let me out for, I think that happened in like September, maybe. They didn't let me out again till maybe like March or April.
Oh, wait, when's her birthday?
November.
And
I was hoping to get out for my birthday, which was in February. No, it was in March.
That's long, man.
That's actually crazy. I feel, at least for your daughter's birthday, they'll have some type of sympathy.
No. And the worst thing about that is that people in prison who don't like you, they'll be so happy. They'll be so happy when you miss stuff. Funnily enough, this morning, I got a comment on my TikTok, and it was from the person I probably hated the most in there. And she was like, oh yeah, I remember you. I remember I didn't like you though, but I don't remember why. And she said, thank God for growth. And I just thought, bitch, this is not growth.
Yeah.
Can you see what you've just commented?
She
like,
came onto your
on
TikTok
to
comment that saying it's growth.
Exactly, not growth. But she is one of the people that, for example, when I wasn't allowed out that time, I think she would have been like listening at the door, because as soon as I came out of the meeting, she knew I wasn't going. And she went to like the top of the stairs and she said something along the lines of, good, you're not even a good mum anyway. And like, obviously I've just heard I'm going to miss her birthday. So I'm not in a good headspace. But people will antagonize you like that, because if we get into a fight, I'm going back to closed prison, which is not fun.
Yeah.
I might not get released to go on tag because I've gone back to closed prison. Whereas she was on a different kind of release. So she would have just gone out anyway on the day she's supposed to leave. Whereas I might not have. So she knew I had a lot to lose. Yeah. And so for her, it was like...
She could pick at you and basically mean nothing of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And people are very much like that in closed prison, open prison, sorry.
So obviously after all of that coming out, how did that feel? Like when you knew you were finally like release date? Because sometimes people go to prison and not know their release dates. Did you know yours? You knew yours, yeah.
But it doesn't always mean you'll get it, because they have to go to your house that you're going to stay at. They have to make sure that it's suitable for tag. If, let's say, you don't have a good relationship with your family, you're not going anywhere.
They'll keep you in prison?
Yeah. They won't release you. So, if they say you don't have a bedroom of your own, you can't go out.
Crazy.
So then what? What'd you do then?
You stay till the end of your... So I came out and I went on tag for 4.5 months.
Yeah.
But if you don't have like somewhere to go, if you don't have a bedroom to stay in, they won't give you tag. You will stay till...
So you do the remaining 4.5 months?
In prison?
Yeah.
That's so long.
Yeah.
So when you came out on tag, like, what was the feeling then? Like, were you finally just relieved? Because some people say that when you're on tag, you still feel like...
You're still in jail.
You're basically in prison, innit?
Yeah. Yeah, because the anxiety is up here. I knew a lot of people that were in prison that got recalled. So they were let out on tag. Their tag kept going off as if they were out when they were in. And these are like sensible grown women. These are not like young dumb girls that you think you're definitely gonna end back. They're like sensible people. This is like their first time in prison. They're like 52 going back in. So when I heard that, I was scared. And then my tag was faulty. It kept going off. It kept saying I was out. So I was always recording myself to make sure that I'm in. Don't try and tell me I'm out. I'm in. See, I've got the tag. And sometimes it would say that I've cut the tag. I hadn't. There was times when obviously I was rushing to get home. Yeah. I spent so much money on Ubers, like just making sure I got home because I think at the time I wasn't driving. But you're just paranoid all the time.
So would you say that was the most difficult part when you came out? The handling the tag and that. You have curfew and stuff, don't you?
Yeah, 7 till 7.
Bro.
So you can't be out of your house past 7 o'clock.
No.
Yeah.
No. But there are other things that can make you get recalled. So, for example, if I smoked weed, I don't, but if I did, and let's say someone took a picture of it, you're going back in. If I handle fireworks, you're going back. Like fireworks. It says that you have a license you have to carry around with you, and it just basically tells you what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do.
And that license, you get signed off, don't you? You have to get signed off?
I don't even remember what happened with that thing. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't carry it around because I lost it. But probation, for example, you have to check in with probation. It's like every 2 weeks in the beginning, then 3 weeks and 4 weeks. My probation in the beginning, she was cool. She left. The second one came and she was a real cow. She was just like, you were late to the meeting. If you're not careful, I'll make sure you get recalled.
What?
I don't have to.
So
she was on you,
Yeah, very much. Very much. She was like always threatening to have me recalled.
Send you back. Yeah.
So it wasn't fun.
So how would you say your family dealt with the whole transition? Like obviously you was out, did your stretch, and then came back out again.
Yeah. And also like to further up on that, like the relationship with your daughter, like how was that when you were in prison?
It was actually fine.
Yeah.
Because my mum, so before I went to prison, me and Talia, we were together every day. Yeah. Every day, because I'm her main caregiver. Yeah. It's not like I leave her with anybody else. So we're together every day. Yeah. So I think for her it was a big change. But I also did live with my mum and my sister. So realistically, it wasn't as disastrous as, let's say, for example, if I went to prison now, that would be terrible for her because it's just us two and my son. So we're always, like, literally always together. Whereas there was, like, my mum and my sister. They did bring her to see me every Sunday. Okay. I told her that I was going away for work. And then eventually I realised that she can read. She's going to look up and see prison and think, huh? I thought you said you're at work. Yeah. So I did tell her. When I came home, she was quite... She just developed like a really moany way of talking. Okay. So like everything was said in like this voice. And to be honest, I struggled personally with being around her when I got home because this is like a bit of a taboo thing to say. But the plus side of being in prison is that you are away from all responsibility. Yeah. Every responsibility that you ever have in life, bills, anything, like you don't have any of that. True. So as much as it's like a horrible reason that you're away, it is kind of like almost like a small break. A horrible break, but it's still a break. When you come back out, bills, rent, you have to find a car, have to find insurance, debts, this, that, like everything's like
you restarting life.
Exactly.
With all these debts on your shoulder.
I would say it's worse than restarting because when you start off life, you can like build up your credit score, and you can go get a little £5 sim, and you can go get a little contract. Like you can do stuff, right? And but when I came out, it was like 101 debt collectors, and then like
how much money do they even give you when you come out?
I think it was like £42, and then whatever else you've saved up in that time.
And was you working? Was you like for money? What was you doing inside? Like, was you working?
I was cleaning the prison.
And how much do you get for that?
15 or 25 £25 a week. No, £15 a week, I think. Yeah, it's £15 a week. And then if your family sends you money, they allow you to have 10. So in total, I had £25 a week.
So 10 out of what your family sends you?
Yeah.
So where does the remaining go?
It just stays in your account till the next week.
Oh, so you get 10 every week?
Yeah, unless if there's like for some special reason, like you need extra credit because let's say your family member's sick, you can ask them to release a bit more.
Yeah.
But generally it's like around £25 a week.
Well, so what did you do in terms of like work and stuff?
When I came out?
When you came out.
Oh, by the way, I just don't want to shade my family
100%,
because I kind of didn't fully answer your question. But to answer the question about how my relationship is with them and how they were very supportive. My immediate family, really supportive. And like nobody really got onto me. And then when I came out, it was just like life was normal.
Yeah.
And now with like it's almost like it didn't happen. I think actually whilst I was in there, we were slightly closer because, for example, I have a sister. She's older than me. She's 7 years older than me. We're like quite close, but we don't say stuff like "I love you." It's like we don't. But when I was in prison, probably one of the only times we've said it to each other. Yeah.
And then that's when she said, "I love you" when you're on the phone.
Yeah.
Or did it be like over visits?
No, it just happened one time.
Happened one time.
Just one time. Don't get ahead of yourself.
It didn't happen. It wasn't
not a regular thing.
Yeah.
But she did say it then.
Yeah. Okay, not bad.
But what was your?
I was saying like, where did you work when you came out? And how was like even getting into normal life of working after you spent 2.5 years, or basically 2 years even?
The working is fine. It was fine. I got a job less than a month after I came out in a call center.
Okay.
And I would say like after the initial like shock of like I'm out, everything just kind of felt normal until it was like time to be home, and then it's like the tag keeps going off, like that sort of thing. Aside from that, everything felt normal. So it's like back to going to parents' evening, taking my daughter places, going places with my whole family. Like it was just back to normal.
But it was just the thing of, so what? When did you start driving as well? Like, so during that time, your tags going off, etc. You started your job. Was you driving or
no?
So even going to queer places, you couldn't even do that.
Yeah. I started driving. Maybe like a month and a half after I came out.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I had a car, but I needed to like fix things on it.
All sorts, yeah.
So I think it was like maybe not even, like a month and a half back to driving. But even that used to scare me because there was someone I knew who crashed into a bus. And when I met her, it was because she'd been recalled for crashing into. So what they do is if they're going to recall you, they just recall you and ask questions later. So she really shouldn't have been arrested. She shouldn't have been back in prison, but she was.
Yeah.
So I was always scared, like, if I hit somebody,
they're just going to send me back to prison.
Yeah.
Well, so obviously coming out of prison, is there like little stuff like, is it like a stain in your credit score, for example? Is your car insurance more expensive because you've been to prison? Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I couldn't get a bank account.
Yeah.
I didn't have a bank account till like 4 years ago.
Very sad. So how long? So
I came out 2017. Bear in mind when they froze my account, that was the day before I got arrested. So that was September 2013. So from 2013 to 2018-19, I didn't have a bank account.
No way. Like prepaid
That's crazy.
I did end up finding a prepaid one from some bank called U Account. They don't exist anymore. Yeah. And that was even stressful because to withdraw your money, you have to like do some long process. If you want to withdraw your money at 1, you have to start the process at 9.
Oh my God. These times you got to go Western Union or something.
Yeah, like it was just, it was ridiculous. So I didn't have a bank account. I couldn't get a £5 SIM only.
Wow.
I couldn't get, obviously, a phone on contract. My insurance, bear in mind I had like a 2007 Corsa. My insurance was almost £200.
A month.
Yeah, which was just...
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And that was from like, it took me maybe a week of constant looking to find an insurer who would insure. I couldn't use Zipcar. Basically, there's loads of places that will tell you, if you've got a criminal record, it's fine. Just be honest with us.
No.
They're lying.
They're always lying.
Always.
Yeah. They literally, they will always lie. And they'll always say it will be fine. Even with jobs, I didn't really have trouble getting jobs. But that's because I just wouldn't tell them. But I didn't lie. It's just
You didn't tell them,
I
innit?
just didn't say anything. But a lot of the jobs, like towards, I would say in the last year. See, now I'm like off license. I don't have to even declare it because it's spent now. But in the last like 6 months of that period, I decided, let me start being honest when I apply for jobs and let me see what happens. And I had loads of people again say to me, it's fine, we do work with people who have criminal records, but if you don't tell us and then we find out, then it will be worse for you and we won't take you. But honestly, we have loads of people with criminal records. And I'd be like, okay, fine, yep, went to prison. And then they'd say, okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to get my colleague to call you and then we're just going to like talk about it a bit more. And then it's like the colleague calls you, you go through the whole process. Oh, no, don't worry. This doesn't remove you at all. Don't worry. 2 days later, I'm sorry, we can't accept you. It's just like, what was the point?
You went through all of that for what?
It's very pointless.
So I wanted to ask, what would you say the biggest lesson being in jail has taught you?
Again, it's just not to trust people. Like, I'm very skeptical of people. That's it. It's just taught me that you cannot trust what someone tells you.
So wait, before you went in, was this trust a big thing for you?
No, not really.
So jail has literally just said, like, it's just put it in you. Like,
yeah, because even like, for example, the people that did do really horrible things, even when they tell you what they did, it's never the real story. There was a lady, she's actually dead now, but she killed her son and she lied about it. Like, when I spoke to her, when she was coming to the prison, everyone was like, oh, Kelly's coming. Oh, her name's Kelly Emery, so you can Google her and see the story. But she basically was a drug addict and she used to give her son methadone to make him sleep so that she could do whatever she wanted to do. And there was hair strand tests that showed she'd given it to him on numerous occasions, right? This is a 18-month-old baby.
What?
Yes. Now, I sat with Kelly in the prayer room sort of thing. I sat with her because I didn't want to just like jump on the bandwagon and be like, ew, move from me.
You actually spoke to her.
I wanted to know, like, what were you doing, girl? Why did you do that? What was going on? So I did ask her, like, tell me then what happened. And she was quite open and we sat down and she said to me that basically she got hooked because someone laced her weed. Her partner killed himself. She was really depressed. She started smoking weed. The person she would get the weed from would lace it, but she didn't know. So when the person went on holiday, she just remembers feeling like, oh, like when I get weed from other people, it's not the same. I need it from this person. And then the person told her, by the way, been lacing your weed this whole time. So that's how she became a drug addict. And then she had the baby, and then now this is where it's just like, it gets silly, because she said that basically she put her son to bed at like 6 or 7, something like that in the evening, put him to bed. Or 9, I think she said 9, and then she didn't check on him until 6 the next morning. Anyone who has a baby, I have a son who's 2. If he did not make a noise,
you'd be like,
this
is concerning.
Exactly. Even if, let's say, if he hasn't made a noise, but I put him to bed at 9, I'm going to check on him before I go to bed, right? But she basically says that what he must have done, 18-month-old baby, is that he would have climbed out of the cot, gone to the bin, opened the bottle, drank the methadone, put it back in the bin, and crawled back into the cot. So when she told me that, I just thought, oh dear. And then, for example, there was another lady, I was really close to her. She was like a mum to me. Like, African lady around my mum's age. She was just like a mum.
Yeah.
She told me she was in there because of fraud.
Yeah.
Come to find out, she used to work in a prison and she had an affair with like a 20-year-old.
Is that why she's in prison?
Yeah, that was why she was in. But it's just like, when I came out, the day she left, everyone said, oh, we're really going to miss her. And I was just like sitting kind of near people and I kind of just heard someone say, oh, but I guess that's what happens when you sleep with a prisoner. And I just thought, huh? What? But I never thought to Google her because I spent so much time with her.
It's like you believed everything she
said. When she told
me
it was money, I just believed it. She told me a whole story about a pastor approaching her with his wife, asking her, and I was just like, yeah, wow, that's so bad. I can't believe they did that to you. They made you cash a fake check. That's horrible. There was another person. This again was an African auntie. I'm a Christian. I just want to say I'm a Christian, but she makes all Christians just look terrible.
Yeah.
This one, I can't stand this woman. Me and her were like this, okay? There was a time where we shared a room. We were like this. Nice African lady. Her talks like this. As you know, cut that out. Don't put her. I don't want her to come after me, please. Don't put her name in. Yeah. But let me just call her. Let me call her. That's it's too late. I need like an African auntie name. Okay, her name's Fola, right?
Are you Nigerian, by the way?
No.
Ghanaian?
Kenyan and Jamaican.
Okay, cool.
So, Fola used to be like really nice to everybody. Everyone loved Fola. She did a few weird things like hide meat under her bed and stuff like that. Very strange. But she had this nice African auntie vibe about her. She would always pray for you. She would always pray with you. She would always observe the Sabbath day, and like she was just the most wholesome person. Nobody knew what she was in there for though, right? Because she's just so nice, and you just think, why would they put you in jail for her? You're like a nice African auntie. I shared a room with her. She wasn't that great to share a room with because she had a few annoying habits, like leaving the window open because she wants like the sunlight to wake her up, and you know, those things were really annoying, but that was cool. One day she says to me, help me look on the canteen sheet. The canteen sheet is like a form where you just tick what you want to order for that week, So she says, help me look on the canteen sheet and help me find some bourbon biscuits because I love them and I really want some bourbons. So I took her folder thing and she's like flicking through for an old canteen sheet to like find where the bourbons are. While she's flicking through, I'm just like, hold, wait a second. I have to see my family's details. Now, I caught it just for a second. It was literally, I just saw it for a second.
You saw your family
My family's details. She'd written it down. And how I knew it was my family's details, I saw my sister's name. I saw my address. Now, my address, we'd moved while I was in prison. So I thought our door number was 40, but it was 45. And so on one of my things, I'd written 40, then cancelled it out and written 45. So what she'd done was the same thing. So she'd initially had it written down as 40. And then, so she's flicking through papers and I've literally caught it just like that. And I thought, I did not just see that. So she flicked through again. And I've seen it again, and I thought, this is weird. Like I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do.
She's not seen that you've seen.
She's not seen. So I just showed her like where the bourbons were, and I left the room, and I went to call my mum. I said, "Mum, something strange is happening. Ola has our details written down," and she said to me, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yes, I'm sure," because she wrote the 40, then she's crossed it out. She's like basically coloured in the 0 and then done a 5. I know what I've seen. I've seen my sister's detail. I've seen my sister's name. And my mum was like, okay, don't go and look through her stuff because you'll get in trouble. Don't approach her. Go and tell an officer. And I'm like, Mum, what are they going to do? She said, just go and do it the correct way. Don't try and be funny about it.
I would have crashed it straight.
But you see, in that prison, I didn't want to go back to closed prisons. I'm trying to like...
But that's family. Like, she could be doing anything with that.
I know, but I had to...
Imagine on the visit, she's giving away info like that. Straight bread on people's head.
What's that true? If she was saying, do you know the reason? Did you find out the reason?
Why she was in prison?
No, both actually. Why she was in
prison. So why she was in
and
prison, you can't even Google this. A lot of us that were in prison, you can Google that.
Yeah.
There was a lady who arranged for her manager to be raped. She She was in with me, and you can Google people, right?
Yeah.
But this one, she's ungoogleable. You cannot find her at all. But
Some random auntie. Yeah,
exactly.
problems.
And so I went and I told a few of my other friends in the prison. I was like, Fola has my details written down. And then eventually we got the Vim to like go and confront her, right?
Yeah.
So it was just me and her in the prayer room again. And I said, okay, Fola, you've got my family's details written down. Why do you have it? I don't know what is going on. I said, Fola, stop. You've got my family's details. Don't start acting. Yeah, like don't start acting like you're sick or whatever.
Now.
Yeah. So then she was just like, okay, we'll go back to the room and I'll give it to you. So we go back to the room. She's like now walking like a decrepit woman.
Yeah.
She's not decrepit and old like that. So we get to the room and she finds it really easily. So she knew where it was. And when she gives it to me, it has my daughter's full name, her date of birth, my mum's full name, date of birth. Now, she's got this from a visits form. Because on a visits form, you have to put all these things down. When they book it, then the prison gives it to you to say you have a visit from these people. So she's got everyone's date of birth, everyone's address, phone number, and full name. And when she gave me the paper, because I did also tell the officers, they went to her room and they couldn't find it. And I was saying, please let me go in there. I will show you where it is. And they were like, no, we can't let you do that. They didn't find it. So when she gave it to me, I went straight there and I handed it to them. And I almost got kicked out of the prison.
What, for handing it to them?
Because she ended up saying that basically I apparently coerced her to write that.
What? Why would you do that? What?
And here's the crazy part is they should have known that it was clearly not the case, right? Because I had told people about this at around 10 o'clock. That's when it happened. Around 10 o'clock in the daytime. I told people about this. Between 10 and 2, I told people. Her story was that I made her write it literally before I went to hand it over. She said that apparently I said I was feeling sick. And I was like, oh, write down my family's details for me. Oh, please. And then apparently as soon as I got the paper, I went to go in. And now, the chaplain in the prison, she set up a meeting. It was me, Fola, the other auntie who lied about having the relationship with and some other people. And everyone was on my side. And especially there was a traveller that I was friends with who bit off someone's nose. And she was just like, no, you're lying, you know you're lying, Fola. And then Fola was like, I'm not lying. But we all knew she was lying.
Yeah.
But somehow, I almost got sent back to closed prison for that.
Did you ever find out the reason why she did it?
No, on the last day that I was leaving, I actually went to her room. I knocked on the door and I walked in and I just stood there and she said, oh, I've been waiting for you. I'm so sorry. You know, it's just that we weren't talking and I wanted... Because she'd annoyed me with the fridge. She'd taken over the whole fridge and I was annoyed. So we weren't talking, even though we were sharing a room. And she'd basically said she did it because something like she wanted to speak to my mum because we weren't talking. But what do you need my daughter's details for? What do you need her date of birth for? And I just want to say this woman's very witchy. She's witchy because she's the kind of person that like writes down her dreams and then she'll like predict things and say like, oh, I knew that was going to, you know, that sort of person.
Was she a Christian? Or she claimed that she never...
She was like Seventh-day Adventist.
Oh, okay.
But she was very witchy. Like there was loads of things that she did that was like keeping the meat under her bed. It was just like just weird stuff. Yeah.
And the weirdest thing about it all is that no one knows why she's in there.
No, nobody knew.
That's mad.
Nobody knew. I'm telling you, I can't lie. I have Googled her
name.
Yeah.
Nothing comes up.
Nothing comes up. And everyone else that I was in prison with, for the most part, everyone is Googleable.
Yeah.
There was like the odd one or two, but they've been in prison for like 20, 30 years. So it's just like, I mean, you probably changed your name at some point. But she was only in there for like 3 years before I met her. Ungoogleable.
Well, and how long? She was in for 3 years. She's been in for a while though.
Yeah, so she was in maybe 2-3 years before I got there, and she left a year after. I did accept her apology in the prison, but that's just because I was like, I'm going home tomorrow. I'm not letting anybody mess this up. When I came out, she did add me on Facebook, and I was like, listen to me. Don't message me. Now we're out.
Don't even hit me up. Yeah.
So because of stuff like that, I touched on the woman who like arranged for her manager to be raped.
Yeah.
She basically was friends with this manager. She'd moved. Let's say she'd moved from like London to Brighton.
Yeah.
When she's moved to Brighton, she's got like no friends. And she makes friends with her manager. But she's like, even I get like a creepy weird vibe from her. She's a strange woman, right?
Yeah.
And she's just like kind of like trying to be her friend, and the manager's kind of like, no, I don't want to be friends with her. They stopped working together because she got fired or she left the job, and she still wanted to be friends with the manager, and the manager kind of told her, babe, no, I don't want to be your friend. So she began texting her and calling her, and I think in the news they said it was like 300 texts in like the space of like 2 hours or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
And so she got a restraining order against her. So this woman went online on a sexual fetish website. She used the woman's picture and she said, I really fantasize about like being raped. I really want to be raped. Come to my house and rape me. This is my address.
Yeah.
And she's given the woman's address. And obviously a man has gone
And
to
done
go
that,
in. Yeah, because he's thinking like...
Yeah, so even when she's saying no, he's still actively...
Exactly, because this is like a rape fantasy, right? So he tries to rape her, and obviously she acts a bit too scared. And then he's like, hold on, like, are you acting? Or like, what's going on? And so he didn't actually end up raping her. But she got, obviously, a long prison time for that. Now, when you ask her what happened, it's like, oh, I don't even know. Like, they said I was harassing somebody, but I wasn't. It's just like, she's been like dramatic, and I wasn't. And like, you believe her. If you don't know, if you haven't read about her, you're just gonna be like, sure. But she's like, yeah, I don't really know. Like, it's really strange. Like, I didn't really do anything. And it's just like, oh, okay. Then you go home and you read about her, and then it's like, oh my gosh.
You're sick.
I was sharing a room with her.
You shared a room with her?
I shared a room with her, and she was scary. She was just like, you just got a creepy vibe. Like, she's the sort of person that, like, when you're changing, she'll just like watch you, and it's just like, weird. Look away. Yeah, you have people like, but then there's also people who did really horrible things. There was someone who set somebody on fire when she was 17. She's the loveliest person though.
So was he trying to just say that was just a mistake?
It was a mistake.
It was a mistake.
Based on her story and based on, I obviously went and Googled it. Yeah,
so everyone you hear about, you go and do your own research. Yeah.
If you get caught doing that, you're going back to closed prison. So when you find your research, you're going to tell your very close friend and be like, oh, guess what Ava did? She did it. Like, you will say it then. But, yeah, it to me sounds like a mistake. It was basically, let's say, 3 friends. One of them has a boyfriend. The boyfriend's messing with another girl. They kidnap the girl and they get her into the car and they say, listen to us, we're going to beat you up because you keep talking to David and we're not happy that you keep talking to David. So they got a can of petrol and they've gone to like a field and they've like doused her in petrol and they've said to her, listen, bitch, if you come around him again. And this person that I knew, she basically told me that she flicked the lighter, but just to scare her. Exactly. But let's say, for example...
From this vicinity, is catching light straight away.
Yeah, but you see, not everyone knows that. Because I'm not going to lie. I don't know if I would have known, like, you're over there and I flick a lighter over here.
You're going like a distance,
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know.
That you're going to, like, come up in a ball of flames, like, instantly.
Yes.
I thought you'd have to literally put it on.
I thought, you'd have to be a bit close. Well, exactly. And she was 17. Her mum had also died not that long before that. She was on a lot of drugs at the time. So it's just like, when you think about all these factors, it sounds like a horrible thing she did, but you can't actually sit there and say like, oh, you're evil, because who would know?
You can
and then obviously when the girl's gone up in flames, she's panicked. They all panicked, like, oh damn, this wasn't supposed to happen.
She's not done stop, drop and roll or anything like that.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, what can you do if you're covered in fuel? You're gone. And so they ran away and they left her and she died.
Oh, she died?
So she got MKs.
Yeah, so she was in prison for... When I met her, she'd been there for 14 years.
Oh, how long did she get?
In total... she got 20 years, but then they reduced it to 14 because of her age at the time.
Okay, cool.
So I think somewhere like around the 7-year mark is when they reduced it for her.
Whoa.
She's out now, though. She was working in Sainsbury's last time I knew. But don't get me wrong though, this woman, she's like genuinely really nice, lovely person. She's so she's so nice. She did something so horrible, but she was so young. But if you meet her today, you would never, ever, 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 in your wildest dream, you'd never think that's what she's done. And then there's obviously people like that other creepy lady where it's just like, you
can tell from a mile away. Yeah.
There's people who killed their baby daddies, and some of them kind of deserved. I'm not saying they deserved to die, but they deserved for the woman to stand up and because some of them it was like domestic violence and it's just like we're just fighting back. I'm fighting back and you just accidentally died.
Yeah, you lost.
I don't support murderers. Yeah, I just want to make that clear.
Yeah.
But there was a lady who her 11-year-old daughter was raped by a neighbor. And her sons went to go beat the guy up and he died.
Nah, but it's
Yeah,
only
you
right.
gotta
What?
Exactly.
You have to
You
judge
see,
it.
stuff like that.
that's
You
true.
look and you say, well, I get why you did that. But she got a life sentence.
You hold the life.
Yeah.
You hold life. You have to.
And her and all her sons got life sentences.
Yeah, but when I was coming out, she'd been there. So it's like when people say a life sentence, it's not. Rarely is it like actually life.
Yeah, that's only in America.
Yeah,
when they be life,
exactly.
Crazy, yeah.
So, but here it's like you get life with a minimum term. So like her minimum term would have been like 12 years. So she would serve the 12 years and she can apply to be released. And then from that point, she can be released or not, but she'll be on license forever. So if she ever does anything, they will recall her. Yeah, so you have a 99 years.
Okay.
Oh, she's okay, cool.
Yeah, so just because of so many stories of people doing like crazy things and then like pretending they didn't do those things or just like being like clueless and I don't know, I'm here, I just called someone 4 times. Like those things really make me just feel like.
Do you think people are in denial because like if they actually come to the terms, the fact that they've done that crime, they could just mess up their mental once they're in there? Or do you think it's just like they're just telling you that so you don't look at them wrong?
It's that.
You reckon? Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of them
but
have
you're all
counselling.
in the same place, so you can't really, even though it's different things, like you're all here for something, innit?
People still judge though.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I think people would still judge.
Yeah, because like the people that don't have it easy in prisons, like the child molesters and the child killers, those ones are the ones that we're all like, ooh. Which is funny because there's some people who've done some really horrible things, but they're still not looked at as like
as bad as like
yeah. But like a child killer, a child molester, they will have no friends. Their friends will be the other child killers.
Among themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like we even a lot of the time they may sit at the table with you if you're on that same lunch table because you're told where to sit, right? They may sit at that.
They literally tell you where to sit. With
So you can't just pick up your plate and then assign
and go sit with your friends. Like
not in in closed prison.
Yeah.
Yes, you can sit wherever you want.
Okay, cool.
It's really cold in here. Can we like turn
turn
off?
it
That's why I'm like
up.
shivering. But in open prison,
Just turn it. No,
No, not that. Yeah,
yellow button.
That's it.
Eee, 23.
oh, perfect. It's
23.
yeah, that's where it needs to be. Thank you. But in open prison, you have an assigned seat, you have an assigned table.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, unless if everyone's left, then you can move around. But if everyone is just arrived at the dining table, then you sit where you're told. And sometimes the murderers and the scary people will come sit at your table and people will literally sit there and be like, oh, you're right, darling. Yeah, how's your day? And they'll be all talking. As soon as the person, like I literally saw this happen. The one who stabbed a pregnant woman.
Yeah.
She used to be really good friends with this old white lady. And this old white lady's there. Oh, yeah, hello, darling. You're right. And they're like rubbing her face. And, oh, yeah, sweetie.
Yeah.
As soon as she would leave the table, I can't stand her, fucking bitch. Like, and they would do this to everybody.
Yeah.
So
Imagine what they're saying about you.
exactly,
Yeah,
people do judge you, definitely, and they judge you based on like what you do when you're out. And if they hear like what you've done whilst you're out, oh, so she spent time with her boyfriend.
Is it like really bitchy?
Is
it
bitchy.
really bitchy?
Just imagine the most bitchy place you've been. Now magnify that times like 1 billion, and it's like old women.
Yeah.
Funny enough as
Hormones
well.
running.
Exactly. The worst ones, I'm not gonna lie, it's the older women. They're very judgy, which just makes no sense because it's like you're also in here too, Martha. Yeah, but you're judging me. Yeah, and they're just mean. The old women in there are horrible for the most part.
So, what advice would you say is the best way to hold it down in prison?
Keep to yourself. Don't tell anybody anything about yourself. Lie.
So just lie out
Just
your teeth.
lie. The best way
This
to
fly is giving everyone.
Yeah.
It really is.
Literally from the beginning of the episode, it's just been circulating.
the best thing to do It's just lie. Don't tell anybody anything about your business. Even when you go out, don't tell. So I did have one friend in there. I'm still friends with her today. We're not like super close at the moment, but I love her dearly. If she ever watches this, I love you, friend. But she's the only person I trusted. Funnily enough, though, she grew up. So I grew up in Tulse Hill. She also grew up in Tulse Hill.
Okay. Cool.
She went to the school across the road from my house. She had my like best friend now was in her class, so we kind of
somewhat
moved.
mutual.
Yeah, like we were in the same sort of circles. We just hadn't bumped into each other. She was the only person that I would be friends with, but they just use what they can against you. So if you don't have a good relationship, like I said, with your family, you're not going to be allowed to go out, because if they think you could get into an argument with your family, they won't let you out.
Yeah.
And people are quite snitchy, bitchy, horrible and mean. So just keep to yourself. Don't talk about your personal life. Don't talk about anything you do outside. Just don't talk. If I went back, if I could go back 5 years and go back in, I'd just not talk from beginning to the end.
Do you think that's going to be hard to do though? Because say even you're in there for like 2 years, some people in for 10.
If I could go back, I would limit it. It would be very limited. From the day I met that person I'm friends with, I knew that I'd like her. I just knew it. I knew we'd be friends within like 5 minutes of me and her. Aside from her, everybody else in there, they just were not they just were not people that you'd want to be around. So just keep your mouth shut. Because what good can it do?
Yeah. Well,
you open your mouth and you tell them your business, and then what now?
They're holding on to that.
Yeah, if you want to talk, go buy some credit and call your family.
Okay.
Go find a chaplain. Talk to a chaplain. You're even better off sometimes talking to an officer than you are to people in the prison. Genuinely. I remember one time I came out. Actually, I can't tell that story. Never mind. Let's move on.
Incriminated there.
Yeah.
That's actually crazy. People. So, what would you say? Like, obviously, I don't know if you know people have been to a male prison, but what do you think one of the biggest differences are?
It's so relaxed.
What do you think? Jail, male prisons are a lot more relaxed.
So, like my co-defendant.
Yeah.
Or co-defendants, like my ex and all of that. They all went. They were in prison at the same time I was in prison. They had a bloody good time. They did. They had a great time because they were together.
I'm calm.
Yeah. Okay.
They were together. They had a great time. When they came out on day releases, it's none of this itinerary crap. They would just like write the gist of like, I'm going home. I'm going to go to church, or I'm going to go see my friends. I'm going to go to my mum's auntie's house.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's it.
In women's prison, if you leave with this bottle, okay, let's say you drink it down to here, do not dare try and come back to the prison with a full bottle. They even write down the amount. It would be like 3/4 of the way full. And they had phones. I used to be on the phone to them and text them. When I came out, they had a longer sentence than me. Yeah. My ex, he got 6.5. His best friend got 5 years. His brother got 5.5. So they got like longer sentences. Yeah. But I would be like out and they'd be like, buy me credit, please. Like, they were on the phone. They were doing stuff. I never saw a phone in the prisons I was in. In the closed prison, yeah. But not in the open prison. No way.
So you didn't have a phone on the
No.
way?
I didn't even want to sneak back lipstick. Genuinely, lipstick. Like, I have a larger chest. So I was able to hide one under here. And it was like a mini one. And I was shook the whole time. Like, oh my God, they're going to catch me. I'm going to go. And they really will search you. During Christmas, you're walking down the stairs. They'll randomly stop you and breathalyze you. It's just like, what do you think? I'm making hooch in my room with an apple? Like, what do you want from me? So, yeah, men's prisons are
a lot more relaxed.
They're so relaxed in comparison.
Yeah. But the women ones overcrowded. Was I hear stories about saying the men ones off, like, they get super overcrowded and they shit people around and stuff, but like...
I wouldn't say overcrowded, no. Yeah, because...
Not overpopulated, not really.
Yeah, because women don't often...
You commit crimes, yeah.
I mean, we commit crimes.
Get caught?
Yeah, but just don't get caught.
Yeah,
a lot of women manage to... Great
don't know about that, man. So what? You're saying majority of women bust case?
Yeah, they probably do, though.
They do?
Yeah, I think they would.
I know a lot of people that have gone to, like, through the process I went through, of being arrested. And funnily enough, most of them are for fraud.
Yeah.
And they get to the point of going to court, and then it's like, okay, suspend your sentence. A lot of them had more.
And that's why you thought.
Yeah, everyone thought it. All the solicitors I ever spoke to, they all said it'll be fine, suspended easily. And then when it wasn't, it was like, oh.
Surely is that just depending on how the judge was feeling that day?
So I think they just wanted to make an example out of us. I also think my co-defendants had really pissed him off.
Oh, okay.
Because I wasn't there. I was in hospital.
Okay,
so
yeah.
I'm only saying from what other people told me. But it was like, kind of like they were trying to use their Christianity as like a way to say like, we've changed. We're not bad. And they weren't admitting to things. They did never plead guilty. They never pled guilty. When the evidence was overwhelming.
Trying to bust it the whole way through.
So, you know, like sometimes like people say, oh, the media, they don't know what they're talking about. I'm not going to lie. With this judge and with all the investigating that they did, everything that they knew was
10.
Spot on.
Because my ex had backed up his phone on a laptop, and the phone had like the whole thing detailed, like in detail, bullet point 1, 2, 3.
He was asking to get back.
Yeah, and I also, I don't know, till this day, I don't actually know what led us to being arrested, but I also think that there were too many people that knew about it.
Yeah.
So like I dated someone in that time that I actually think he snitched, if I'm quite honest. I don't know. And I did actually say it to him once. Now that guy's really, really doing a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if he actually did snitch on me. I didn't tell him ever what I was doing. But I just found it kind of funny that we were supposed to go on a date. You picked me up late because Arsenal was playing. Picked me up late. I'm annoyed. You want to come into my house? I say, no. You're not coming to my house because you don't even want to take me to McDonald's to get a cheeseburger. I'm coming out the car. I go in the house. I block him. And then my account got shut down. That was a Metro bank account. My account got shut down the next week. So I just found it fun. And I just, you know, he used to, when he did come into my house a couple times before that, he would kind of be like, no, your house is kind of nice. Like, how do you get all the money for it? He was a cashier. There was also times like on my birthday or even like when I met him, obviously I'd go to the till, I'd be withdrawing cash and he'd see what's in my account and he'd just be like, what do you do? What do you do?
What did you tell him?
He's a snitch, man.
I just said, I live my life. What do you do?
He's a snitch.
Simple.
Yeah. I did say it to him that I think he snitched. He said,
Did he deny it?
Yeah, he did. But
Why would he snitch?
I mean, I think it's just because I friend zoned him. I don't know in it. He could be innocent.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Never find out, will I?
Yeah, that's actually so true.
Damn.
That's one thing. Wouldn't you want to know how I actually got arrested? That would just be some closure. I'd want to know.
I would love to know.
What actually got me?
Yeah, I would love to know, but I don't think I'll ever know. In my heart of hearts, I do believe that he snitched on me. I'm sure. Because it just was too coincidental that I friend zone you. And I'm like not nice about it either. I'm like mean and I'm rude. I jump out the car. The next week, like my Metro account gets shut down. Why did that happen? They wrote me a letter and they actually had put his name in it. And they'd said something to do with a conversation between me, him, and another employee. But I didn't really understand what the letter said. And then, I don't know.
Yeah.
Damn.
So, I really wanted to bring it back quickly, right down to the beginning, yeah. So when your boyfriend at the time actually brought that whole, basically that idea to you, how were you feeling at the beginning of it? Were you with it?
No. I said, no way.
Can I ask, how much did you make from it, the whole thing, do you reckon in total?
That's how they all start.
An embarrassingly low amount.
Compared to how much they made. Yeah.
Look, he used to drive a CLS, okay? Bear in mind, this is 2011 that it started, okay? We didn't finish this till 2013. But just understand, he was driving a 2013 CLS at the time. He also he also had a 6 Series, so he was really living life. Went to Miami. So the thing is, to be fair, it's not, I just want to clear up that it's not that he was making all this money and then just handing me like a little bit. It was that I was scared. So when he first approached me with this idea, we were at a bus stop in Vauxhall, and he was just like to me, you know what? I got a really good idea to make some money. And then he told me about the fraud, and I was just like, stop. I don't even say anything else to me. I don't want to hear anymore. Stop. And then obviously he started doing it, and we're living together at the time. So like he's coming in with like Moncler socks. Do they make socks? Okay, sure.
Man's wearing Moncler socks. His bread's
yeah, Moncler jacket,
Yeah,
Prada.
the socks have changed.
Yeah, even the
like,
socks, crazy.
Everything. I just started to notice like you look and smell like money, and I'm like in the house struggling. Okay, he's not offering me money really. I'm like struggling. He then said to me, you know, if you want, I can make you like a little line manager. Yeah, you can rake it in too. And I was just like, stop. I don't want to do this.
But it gets to the point where
it's true. Especially when you see the money and it's literally next to you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
the money was sleeping in the same bed as me, and I'm here like struggling to buy nappies in this lovely house, but I'm struggling. And so then eventually I was like, okay, fine, I'll do a little bit, and then I'll stop.
Yeah.
So it's not that he wasn't like I probably could have lived that same life, but I was scared. So
yeah. I hear it. So have you got would you say you got a figure of how much you made, or you can even remember?
For the sake of actually, do you know what?
If it's incriminating, then
no, it's not incriminating because nothing I say could be incriminating at this point.
Cool,
but the only reason I'm gonna say this number is because I want people to understand it does not have to be a large amount
for you to get back.
Yeah, you can go for. I mean, I did meet someone who was in prison because she found a credit card and she used it and she spent £500 on it in Selfridges. So just understand that you can go for like a small amount because I do meet people all the time who say, oh, but I'm only doing a little bit, or it's and people will tell me like it's a small amount or they can't trace it because like people have all these sorts of reasons why they're not going to go to jail, and I'm just like, stop, because you still can go.
Yeah.
So they said. Now, I don't know, by the way. I don't know. I don't have a figure. I don't know how much I made.
It comes in, you spend it.
And it was a lot of the time I was paid in cash, and it was just very infrequent. So on a, like, let's say a day where I've just decided I'm just going to stay at home and make some calls, I probably would make maybe I don't know, I don't know. But in total, they said it was like 12 grand.
That's still compared to working a job to make 12 grand like that.
By the way, I don't think it was.
You reckon it was?
Because one of the amounts, so his best friend, we were quite close. He had bought me my first car, and then I just got my student loan sent to him. He took back that money and then sent me the rest, right? So that's the whole 5 grand that I was sent from student loan that came from his account to me. But they listed that as one of the. Then there was times when my ex gave me a grand for rent, right? It happened twice, and so they added that, and so they said I was money laundering as well. But I don't know how much I got paid because everything was in cash. So they've just looked at what's online, and that's how they've deciphered.
So obviously we'll wrap it after this. But so you're on socials, you're on TikTok. Where are you trying to take that to? Because obviously you just made it as a random video and it happened to pop up. But are you going to try and go onto YouTube, sell your story other ways, or?
Yeah.
Help other people in that situation as well?
Yeah. So there's this thing called Prison Me No Way. And they just travel around and tell young kids about what prison's really like. And they show them about. I think that's such a great thing that they're doing. I would love to do something similar. But then again, I also don't really want to just be known for you went to prison. 100%, I like the idea of content creation. I like the idea of being a YouTuber. Because as you can tell, I like to talk. Yeah. So I would, I'm taking my content creation career seriously. That's,
Okay. Respect.
Yeah. I have a few other business ideas. I can show you one right now, but I just don't want you to say it on a microphone. Yeah,
you can show us after.
Yeah. But I have some other business ideas that I have going. So yeah.
If you've got anything to plug, But it will be in the description and stuff anyway.
YouTube, find me on YouTube. My YouTube page is Makayla. No, it's Kayla. Can I just give it to you and just?
Yeah, it'll be on the screen. It'll be in the description. Yeah.
So yeah, that's it.
What are you saying? Anything else?
That's all, man. That was
It's actually been a pleasure. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
It's alright, man. It's alright.
Yeah. You man, till next week. We'll be back.
Juices.
Yeah.